All right, let's do it.
She'll be waiting there.
Turn it down there.
Breathe into.
Is it too loud in your ears right now?
Is what too loud?
I need to turn it up for my ears. Is that okay?
It's pretty loud in my ears.
Okay. There we go. Instrumental release? I don't know about that. All right, we're live, nerds. Let's get weird. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. My name's Dave, and you're here to learn about who we are and what we do. Nico's trying to get a frame of light up. There we go.
Can we have the
music
lower?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, there we go.
That seems pretty good.
There we go.
All right, I'm going to turn this back up for them. There we go. So now you guys can hear the music a little bit, but hopefully you hear mostly us. We're trying a new setup today. We're doing single microphone. We're using a new camera. We got some lighting. We got some new commands. Dave's cosmic whistling. Oh my god, I cannot believe you remember that, dude.
I don't.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Dave's cosmic whistling with the zzz. Yes, we're hanging out. We're just getting started, boys. I know we're about 15 minutes in. Mark and I were working on some lighting and doing some stuff with the stream on the back end. So feel free to hang out. Check out those new commands that we have. Right, ja.
Whoa.
Feel free to peep those. Can you hand me my water, please?
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I went to a bakery today with Riley when we were going to antique stores.
What are you doing at a bakery, Mr. Keto?
Well, that's what I asked him. I said, "Hey, do you have any like pastries or cookies or whatever that are like keto friendly?" And they're like, we've got some that have like flaxseed instead of like flour.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple of others that have what did they say? It uses some kind of other replacement for flour, but it was really good. And I bought another one, and I'm saving it for tomorrow. But it's so soft.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Looking forward to it. The other one had jelly, so it has some sugar, but it's like one cookie in a long, long time. Did you give Riley a high five for me? I sure didn't. Yeah.
You should take your little robot and
Yeah.
move him over the white blossoms.
The white blossoms?
Yeah.
Instead of the purple one?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can move him. Cap him on. Like over here?
Yeah.
Alright. Boom!
Yeah, now he pops out a little bit more.
There he is. Damn, give Mark one instead. Tight.
Cool.
Mark got a high five, you owe me $5.
Oh, shoot. So I think this is the...
Water's good stuff.
I love it. I think this is the last of the lyric dives.
Yeah, this is the last deep... Well, we can always do Iota, and Iota 2, and Iota 3, but...
If we wanna.
Yeah, we don't have to. We can always do it later, too.
I'm down.
Once everything's probably written and ready to go.
I'm down to do Iota and Iota 2. They're so short, though, that if this is short, maybe we'll just do it today. Or maybe we'll do it as separate content. I don't know.
Yeah, we can do it on a separate video. That way it's like, maybe we can go deeper into like composition. Maybe discussing those types of elements.
Yeah, we could do that. Also, heads up, everybody. I apologize that I'm yawning. That I'm so yawny.
Ha! It's a yawny joke.
It's a yawny joke. I have not been sleeping well recently, but last night, I have to take responsibility. You see, I'm almost finished with Star Trek The Next Generation.
For like the 15th time?
This is probably, of The Next Generation, only my 4th time through.
Okay.
4th or 5th.
That's not so bad.
No. Well, back then, a show, because it was a lot lower production, right? Whereas today you have a show and it's like 8 episodes, but each episode like looks like a fucking movie. Back then it was like, okay, we have a show and here are like 6 angles. You know what I mean? So you per season you get like 25 episodes.
Wow.
And there are 6 seasons, so 150? 150. Yeah,
Something like
150
that?
episodes. Yeah.
Jesus.
Each one an hour long, so you get a lot of content.
Yeah, 150 hours of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Is that with Picard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one with Picard.
Is Riker in that one?
He is. Do you remember his role?
He's probably like a bridge officer or something.
Yeah, he's the second in command.
Oh,
Under Picard. Commander Riker.
Commander Riker.
Yeah, but there are a lot of different people who can be commanders. You don't have. That doesn't mean you're automatically second in command.
Can you be a commander of like the engine room or like the med bay?
Yeah.
Huh.
So commander just means that basically, if needed, you can take command of the ship.
So like the vice president.
Not necessarily.
Oh.
Like, if you needed me to, I could drive your car, right? So like, let's say Captain Picard is taking a nap and Riker is on vacation on Risa. If you have the rank of commander, they'd be like, yo, we need a commander to watch the ship until they get back. Hey, you, come here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like a pecking order almost.
Yeah, kind of.
What we got here? Arctic says, "Give me plays on Spotify so I can get $5 from Spotify and you can have it, lol." Yeah, dude. Good luck. $5 on Spotify is gonna take you like 1,000 plays.
Yeah.
More than that, 10,000 plays probably. Okay, well, before you get too sleepy, let's dig into the Bearing of Shadows.
I should have got some coffee or something.
Yeah, we can get. I mean, we're gonna eat afterwards.
That's
so,
a good point.
Yeah, we'll just do that as soon as we're done. All right, guys. So today we're gonna be talking about the Bearing of Shadows. We released this album in May or April of last year. April or May, I don't remember.
Correct.
Of 2020. And then as of right now, actually, for those of you who want to listen to it on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Music or whatever, Metal Blade is currently re-uploading the album for us through their distributor. So it's not really available through those mediums at the moment. But you can still get it on our Bandcamp, so if you want to go grab it from there, you can. There's some links in the description and stuff, I'm sure.
Correct.
All right, so that being said,
Yeah.
The Bearing of Shadows is kind of, it's not about sci-fi, is it?
No, this is our first album which doesn't deal with sci-fi, philosophy of some degree. It doesn't really deal with any of that.
Yeah.
You know.
What does it deal with?
So we're doing this for the gram.
Yeah, this is for the Instagram.
So yeah, I guess before we talk about the lyrics, we should talk about. I'll get it on the Hub. That's a great place.
On the Hub. Oh my God.
That's upload movies there. No, so remember when Infinite Annihilator's video was uploaded on Pornhub?
I do remember that. I remember taking a screenshot and posting it on r/deathcore and being like, "So is this real?" and like asking the question. That was pretty hilarious.
It was up there for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we talk about the Bearing of Shadows, I think we should talk about kind of what I wanted to do lyrically. So interestingly enough, this is the first album where I wanted the lyrics to actually like do something, right? So with the Kardashev mythos, right? The lyrics were very much written to tell a cool sci-fi story. Yeah. Nothing really deeper than that. And then with like Peripedia and Iota, the lyrics were kind of selfish. They were me just kind of like figuring my own shit out. With this, I actually wanted to do some work, right? And so when we wrote this album, I think I guess I should say when I was writing the lyrics for this album,
yeah.
There was a lot of, and there still is, but there was a lot of unrest in the world, especially the United States.
Yep.
And I just found it very, very frustrating, and very, very, just not happy, right? And I remember thinking like just about it a lot, and I had all these feelings about it that I couldn't really reconcile because like everybody was so emotionally charged, whether or not they were, you know. I'm not saying the emotional charge was wrong. I'm just saying it was there, right? They were so emotionally charged. It was really hard to have a conversation with anybody about it, or just to like express emotion. You know, like, man, this is really affecting me, and then you would usually get some sort of thing back. And so I was like, I remember thinking to myself, like, I was cleaning the bathroom at my house. I'm like, this is an interesting metaphor. I'm scrubbing the toilet. I'm
funny.
Yeah, I'm scrubbing the toilet. And I'm thinking, like, how the hell do people even get along? Like, how does society even function? Like, how do all these millions of people who are so... And again, at this point, I was a little bit in a state of depression, so these thoughts I was having represent that part of my mind. It's not how I fully view the world when I'm in a healthy state. But I was like, people are so quick to, like, hate each other and be angry at each other and, you know... hold them accountable for like their one flaw in their sea of accomplishments. How are we ever going to get along? And I was listening to this video, and in the video, the speaker said he was talking about depression. I was listening to videos about depression, right? Obvious reasons. And he was saying that it doesn't matter if you don't know what to do to fix depression. Like, it doesn't matter if you are, and I'm not speaking to you, giving you depression advice. This is just what the video said, and it helped me. it's like a lot of people are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of depression. But really, that doesn't matter. If you know what you don't want, you can just move away from that thing, right? Like if you're sitting too close to a fire and it starts to burn your leg, you don't necessarily have to like sit there and think, okay, which direction would be the best for me to go? What direction should I get a different chair? Like, you just kind of move away from it until the pain goes away and you figure out the rest later.
Yeah.
Right? And so I remember thinking, like, that's kind of a great unifier, like moving away from pain. Because no matter your like political, religious, cultural, whatever view you have, 99% of people can agree that unwanted pain is not good, right? And I was like, so that's really a great unifier. So what I wanted to do is I decided I was going to, no, Alex, we will not go to bed. You go to bed, Mr. UK.
What's up, Alex?
So I wanted to write an album that was 5 stories of pain that I had not experienced. To send 2 points. Number 1, anybody reading these lyrics could be like, holy shit, a spouse dying would suck. Or, holy shit, like, watching your parent go away would be difficult. Doesn't matter who that person is or what they look like. Looking at these lyrics, they could feel a little bit of pain.
Sure.
And then secondly, to say that you don't have to live an experience to empathize. Because at the time I was really feeling like, we are, like, for example, if I was to say to somebody, well, okay, if you were to be like, if you had an opinion on obsessive compulsive disorder, and I was like, you don't fucking get to talk about that. You don't have OCD. You don't know what that experience is like. I'm shutting down your ability to be empathetic to me. Like, you don't know what it's like, but who the fuck cares? Like, you could say something, and then rather than shooting you down, we could have a cool conversation about it, and then we grow closer because I've updated your view of it. You have been empathetic towards me and cared about the experience I'm going through, and I wanted to show that. I wanted to say, like, we can empathize people. We can have feelings and emotions and opinions about experiences that we don't live, as long as we're not being jackasses about it, right?
Sure.
And so these are 5 stories about pain that anybody can experience that I have not lived. In fact, some of the stories aren't mine. Some of the stories are adaptations of friends and family members I've known. And I'll leave those, the people don't matter for their own anonymity, but that's what empathy is. Empathy is putting yourself in another person's mindset for a second when you don't really have any other reason to be there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so that's what this album wants to do. It wants to help people be open to empathy and to realize that no matter who you are, pain sucks. That's it.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be in a state of pain or prolonged suffering, and because we all feel that way, it unifies us to some degree.
Exactly.
Versus dividing us based on like the details of what your pain is. Oh, you have foot pain? That's nothing like back pain. It's like, that's not the point. Both of us are in discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
That's the unifying angle.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, on that note, Death Chicken, sorry, dude, the 160p crowd represent. That sucks, man. Hope you get a refresh. Maybe go onto your mobile network, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Emmy, what's going on? Hope you both have a good night. I'm on trivia, but I'll catch you later for the deep dive.
Oh, trivia nights are fun.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, close this. You don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, don't mess up trivia night.
Yeah, pay attention.
Plus, the VOD will be available on Twitch and then also on YouTube once I upload it there. So make sure to check that out. All right, Marks, let's do some vocal discussion.
Yeah.
Lyric discussion. In the first song, A Frame of Light, you say, breath held by the door on damp dust windowsills. Be awake. No, I can't. I can.
So, this song overall, I want to talk about what the song's about first.
Please do.
So this song tells the story of someone I know, not my experience, who found out that a family member of theirs was like going to commit suicide. Like, they were going to commit suicide, and they lived on the other side of the country. And it was like a very serious situation because the person was threatening to, shoot themselves, and they owned a gun.
Yes,
and
they did.
They lived very isolated, and it was like literally like a ticking time thing. I remember talking to this person and saying, like, well, couldn't you just call the cops so they could roll by and check it out? And they'd be like, he would just fake being okay. Like,
sure.
He would just be like, oh, yeah, my family member, they that's what they're like.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally fine. Like, look, yeah, no, I'm watching TV. hey, sorry, officers, I'm sorry for. So it was literally like, we have to get across the country as fast as we possibly can, so this person doesn't die.
Yep.
Now, in real life, this person didn't die. They decided to live. But I thought about this, and I was like, what if you got there and it was too late? All of these songs deal with having no control. Your choice and your control is gone, right? And so what would that be like? So these first lines talk about walking up to the house, and I wanted to really instill a sense of place, right? Because place is oftentimes very, very tangible to us, especially when we're in, like, now this isn't like me speaking scientifically, just in my own experience, like, anytime I've been in some sort of like time of like trauma, be it emotional or physical, right, for some reason, like, my surroundings are very tangible to me. Like, I'm just hyper, like, this table is very tangible, this chair is very tangible. So this person walks up to the door and they hold their breath and they say, I can't go in, I can't go in. And then they say to themselves, no, I can go inside, I have to do this. And so their breath held, they're holding their breath by the door, and then the damp dust windowsills are kind of to just set the environment. So maybe it's just rained, maybe it's a foggy day, doesn't really matter. But the windowsills are really, really dusty. So it's like the house hasn't really been taken care of. If you've ever seen like damp dust, it has a very specific like texture to it. It's not like wet dirt, it's like kind of gross looking.
Yeah, it's like almost like a weird moss.
Yeah. And so this person walks up, they take a deep breath, and they're like, I can't go in, I can't see this. If I'm too late, this is a problem. But then they realize, I have to go through this door. I have to face whatever is on the other side of this door. Not because, like, there's no more moral implication. They know the person's dead. They don't owe that person anything, but they have to do it because there's really no other choice. I mean, I guess if you just wanted to leave a body there, but
call the coroner and be like, hey, you should probably come check this out.
But even if you ignored it, it would still come back to you.
Right?
They'd look for next of kin, and they'd be like, hey, are you so and so's family member? So they have to deal with it. There's no choice. There's literally no way out of it. And so, yeah.
So then you say, the silence tells the truth. Why did I wait? Be awake. No, I can't. I can. You echo that sort of line in the middle there.
Yeah. So they have yet another moment of hesitation when the property is like dead silent. There's no sound coming from outside or from inside. You can't hear the TV. There's no radio playing. There's no movement, no creaking of floorboards, nothing. It's like, pun heavily intended, dead silent.
Wow.
So the silence is telling what's going on. And the person says, why did I wait? In this version, in the version of the song that I wrote, I added something where they kind of ignored their family members' warning signs. Not to be malevolent, but just because it's hard to face, When I was in the hospital for being super depressed and wanting to end my own life, which I obviously didn't. Hello. They talked to the family members about how there's actually like a psychological defense mechanism where your brain will create like almost a situational blind spot, because like it's like a psychological thing, because you don't want to see a family member in pain. And avoidance has served humanity well for millions of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why did I wait? Why didn't I do something? And then they steel themselves again, and they go through the door. What's up, Big Bear?
Hey, Big Bear. Okay. You then move on to the next stanza where you say, gray from cinder, kiln words in the fire alone.
Yeah.
That's very descriptive.
Yeah, so basically while they're walking through the house, they walk through like the living room, and they see a crumpled up piece of paper in the fireplace. Now this is kiln words. This is another kenning. I was talking about kennings in another video.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
So rather than saying
whale road
for ocean. So rather than saying, a suicide note that the person decided to not send, so they threw it in the fireplace, kiln words, right? So they wrote a suicide note, they crumpled it up, they threw it in the fireplace, and the only word that they can read among like the ashes and the singe is the word alone. And so it's just like the silence is a confirmation of what they know, and they have to push through the silence to face their pain. Then they see this word alone, and on top of the silence, they know that when they go into the next room, they're going to find their family member dead.
Yeah.
And they have to push through the pain one more time. They have to push through pain and push through fear to face something. Wow. And a lot of us get that in our lives at some point. We have an instance where we have to do something that's really going to suck. Like, we have to have a conversation or that is going to be awful, and that probably will turn out badly. we have to do something that probably won't be good, or if there are going to be good results from it, they might be years later. And so yeah.
Yeah, Chicken. This is gonna be a pretty heavy album. This album is the heaviest emotionally of everything we've ever written, because everything else up to this point was like sci-fi and introspective and sort of philosophical, but this one's about reality and the pain and the sorrow of reality.
I was literally, when I wrote these lyrics, I was deliberately trying to make people feel pain, so my bad.
Well, yeah, because just as a reminder for those of you who might have just joined, the intent, as Mark explained earlier, was that there is a way to empathize with most people through the struggle of commonality, which is pain. Mm-hmm. And so pain in some sort of way unites us, whether we think it does or doesn't. It just kind of does, because nobody wants pain.
Right. And
that's why the album is written about it. So you then move on to say, across from me, an empty frame, but light against the wall, your light against the wall.
So the person steps into the room. It doesn't matter which room it is, bedroom, kitchen, bathroom.
Sorry, Big Bear.
But
cry while eating canes.
Dude, just cry into the coleslaw, man. No one eats it anyway.
Yeah, no one. I mean, I like that. But anyway.
The Texas toast is really absorbent, though. So
that's a good point. Yeah, just dab your face with the toast, and you'll be all set, dog.
Okay, so when you said dab your face, I imagine somebody crying with toast, and they're like... Anyway, okay.
What's up, Beagle?
What's up, Beagle? So they walk into the room, and sure enough, they see the body.
Yeah.
They see the body, the body of the person, and we get a little bit philosophical here, because the idea of a body being an empty frame insinuates the existence of a soul or some such.
Right.
Certainly consciousness is absent. So this body is an empty frame, right? There's nothing there. It's just bone and skin and flesh, and so that's what they see. They see the empty body, and then there is a light coming through a window, and just kind of like spotlight on the wall, just kind of like naturally, like, if you've ever sat in your house for a long time, like during the summer, being a kid watching TV, you've probably noticed how light moves across the room. Mm-hmm. So at some point there's this beam of light, and that kind of, I don't know if this is an experience I can explain, or that a lot of other people go through. Probably as I get older, I find that very few experiences we have are actually unique. But like being utterly torn apart emotionally, but like one thing being strangely comforting, like something being like oddly comforting in that moment.
Sure.
Like you're just fucking sobbing, and God, this blanket is really goddamn soft. So this person, their heart is broken, and they see their fears to be true, but this light kind of makes them think of the soul that's missed, right? So the soul has left the person's body. It's just fucking light in the window, right? But that comfort also kind of breaks them. So it's just like this confusing swirl of emotion, like a dead body, a light. This person was a light in their life,
There's a lot of allegory kind of going on.
Yeah.
In a lot of this. Originally, when I had read this for the first time, it was always my impression that an empty frame sort of implied like the house is now empty because it has no person occupying it.
It could.
That was sort of my understanding when I would read through this. And then light against the wall, your light against the wall, to me was like a projected memory of a person walking through a home. Like they have these fond memories of like that time we chased each other down the hallway, and when we like, we're washing dishes together or whatever. Like this was the imagery that I thought of.
You could certainly view it that way, and I want people to view it that way. It's not what was intended in the lyrics, but see how it fits the meaning perfectly.
Yeah, it totally does. Once like the sort of the reasoning behind it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
I just want to do a quick shout out to Drawcab and Bagel Spiders. Bagel Spiders has been sick for the last couple days, guys. Give him a follow, toss him some love. He's not streaming right now because he is like sort of on rest. So show him some love, man. Thanks for being here, Sheldon. Appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So then, to kind of end it out here, you say, come home to me, your light against the wall, your light against the wall, oh so long ago.
Yeah, so that's very much like what it sounds like. But it's a very like, if you've ever lost somebody, or even like a fucking pet, like I got tore up when my hamster died, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Rasputin. Rest in peace, bro.
Yeah.
you almost have, when somebody you love dies, you almost have to suspend. No, it's the opposite. It's not suspend your disbelief. It's almost like your body wants to disbelieve. Your body, you have to like force yourself to, in your own time, like take the time you need. But you almost have to face the cold logic of the fact that they're not there, right? And so like, or even after a fucking breakup,
Sure.
like that person ain't coming back. They didn't leave you to change their mind later,
right?
And you have this idea that, and you almost like ask them emotionally to come back, and it's never going to happen because it's hard to accept, right? Even when all the evidence is in front of you, this person's dead, you're like, just fucking come home. I'll fix it. I'll do it right this time. Please just come back.
Sure.
And they ain't gonna do it. This person feels very distant. And this part, the last lines that you read oh so long ago, is kind of them like sobbing as they're holding the person and realizing that any meaningful memories they have are way long ago. They've lost so much touch with this person. Not only did they lose this person, but they lost this person maybe 10 years ago. Yeah. Even when they were alive. That happens to us a lot. We lose people without them dying or without a breakup. We just stop talking to them.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's kind of like a more tongue-in-cheek way to sort of exemplify that is that at one point your parents put you down and never picked you up again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of in that motif.
There's at one point you and your best friend played outside together for the last time.
Yeah,
that happened.
There's always that finality that you don't really recognize because it's less emotionally impactful until it's brought to your attention.
Exactly.
Which is like, just because you're estranged from, I'll use myself as an example. My uncle passed away a couple years ago, and I hadn't talked to him in probably 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. And so when it happened, it was like, dang, dude, I just realized all my best memories are from when I was 12, and he and I would go like camping or go to Mexico and ride dirt bikes or like whatever, right? And it was kind of like mind blowing that I didn't have the opportunity to make newer memories with him.
Yeah,
that's it's pretty crazy, man. Hey Vax, what's up, my dude?
Vax, what's up? Also, Drawcab, I'm really glad that the lyrics are impactful to you. That means a lot to me. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
thank you for saying that.
Appreciate that feedback, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them at us. We're not trying to rush through this. It's only a 4-track album, so it's gonna go a little quickly.
Yeah. I don't remember what that quote's from, but I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
That is Andy Bernard from The Office.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you had left them. Someone should put that on a shirt. Yeah.
No, it's true though. And it's interesting. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like,
we don't play Magic until 6 a.m. at Denny's anymore, drinking copious amounts of Dr. Pepper.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. And I was like, I was feeling a little frustrated with my life currently because, as you know, in February I was like way too busy, which was my own damn fault. I agreed to too many things. And I remember feeling like, man, like this fucking sucks. Like life fucking sucks right now. And then I had this realization. One thing you learn when you go to the hospital for depression, because you're going to kill yourself, is to recognize that thinking and subvert it in a healthy way. So when I was like, my life fucking sucks, I said to myself, actually, I have a YouTube channel. I'm a vocal coach. I don't work for anybody else. And I just got married. So I'm in the good old days right now.
Yeah, like continually move with the good old days. Make this more good old days.
Yeah, I'm gonna look back on this in 10 years and be like, man, fucking remember when we did that and we just got signed, and I was like, no, Mark, like you need to keep it in perspective. So that's a really good quote.
That's a really healthy practice to have.
I didn't know how to do it.
I don't think many people have that type of mental tool set.
I think it's because you have to be taught it.
Probably.
Like our human instinct is to zero in on the thing that's causing us pain.
Yeah. Because
it's causing us pain, right? You got a cut on your arm, you're gonna fucking look at it. But the problem is when it's mental or emotional pain, if you just fucking stare at it nonstop, it's not gonna, because you can't like put a band-aid on mental and emotional pain. So the more you focus on it, the more it's just gonna get worse. So I think somebody has to teach you that, because it feels only natural when you are depressed. To focus on your depression, because that's how you heal most other things. Again, not a psychologist, just things that were told to me.
No, it's cool to just kind of hear your perspective on that,
Cool. I'm gonna fill up my water because
go grab some water.
I'm a dehydrated fiend these days.
Okay, well in the meantime, I'll hang out with the good old fam. Let me get caught up on chat here. Going through a lot right now. Was hoping that this would be a good mental distraction. Yeah, Vax. Hey, listen, my dude, you gotta take a breather. You gotta like get into a hobby. You gotta maybe see a specialist. sometimes you just got to take time for yourself. And, you know, we live in a society, especially those of us in the United States, that glorifies overworking yourself. There's a really excellent subreddit that I would highly recommend to anybody that's feeling hyper burnt out and just feeling like the system is sort of there to, I don't know, man, keep you in a position where you feel powerless. It's called Anti-Work, ANTIWORK. It's not going to be a healthy alternative to whatever you might be going through, but it is perspective on other people who share similar frustration and feeling, and that to me speaks like to my spirit. I mean, I'm not like a spiritual person or a religious person by any means, but the spirit of there has to be another way. There has to be a way that I can employ myself somehow with enough like work and the proper people and the proper understanding of like, you know, how a market works and marketing, etc. And it just kind of really helps me feel better about myself, that I'm like sort of making the right decisions. So check that out if you're feeling a little frustrated. Alex says you picked the wrong night for it, I think. Yeah, dude, this is the heavy night. This is the super heavy night.
See, I think that might... I think I kind of disagree with that, though, because sometimes, like, shared catharsis is very, very healing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think the idea is, like, if you came here to have, like, jovial entertainment this particular night...
Oh, yeah, this is not a comedy show, that's for sure.
I mean, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have fun. We're going to smile. We're going to laugh. I mean, we're going to talk about some heavy shit, but that doesn't mean that we're going to be in heavy shit. It means we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then Beagle says, this is one of the most heart-wrenching albums I've ever listened to. There are plenty of metal albums with sad lyrics, and Marky's vocal performance is what makes this album feel different. Totally agree.
Thank you.
Hello, gents. Just wanted to... Oh, and then Kyle shows up. What's up? Just wanted to say thank you for the album. Snow Sleep is the first song I heard of yours, and it instantly connected with me. It is the only song that I can remember to have ever made me cry.
Whoa.
It will always have a special place in my heart. I can guarantee the music and lyrics resonate with these exact situations. Well, thanks so much, my dude. Thanks for being here and hanging out with us. If you have any questions or you just want to chill and lurk, by all means, please do.
That's cool, too. Yeah, and good thing you mentioned Snow Sleep, because we're going to talk about it right now.
Yeah, we're gonna deep dive into Snow Sleep this very moment. And remember, guys, there's a bunch of new links there if you're interested. Yeah. I was really hoping. So someone finally did Patreon, so I changed it to say intimacy. You want it? We got it.
Yes. Just fucking owning it,
dude. I just went straight in. I was like, you guys are giving me such a hard time.
Do it. Dude, that's what you got to do, man. When people are fucking busting your balls, you just got to own it.
Yeah, you just double down.
Yeah.
Just double down on it.
Yeah.
Death Chicken says, this is going to make me start paying attention to the lyrics of what I listen to now. Hey, dude, it's a cool opportunity for you to get into another aspect of something you already enjoy. So
yeah, one artist that I started liking a lot more when I started paying attention to lyrics, Ghostmane.
Wow.
Dude, like, you're like, oh, okay, this is mumble rap, so it's probably like, you know, guns and cars. Like, no, dude, the guy is like writing about like the occult and drug addiction with like allegories to like black metal history from the 90s, and you're just like, this dude's fucking intelligent.
Yeah, I remember watching his a Genius episode with him and Puya. The two of them were on there together,
yeah.
And they sort of talk about a song, and he's like, yeah, this has to do with Aleister Crowley and how like the occult was like this like very like voodoo thing, societally speaking, and he kind of goes in deep, and I was like, okay, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
And then Puya's like, so this part is about pulling out a gun, and
yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, got you, Puya. And he's like, this part's about doing drugs. And I'm like...
No, I love Puya. I love his music.
Yeah, I think his beats are tight.
There was a difference there.
I think his beats are tight. Let's see here. Beagle says, this community is wonderful. Yeah, it is, because we got people like us and you. Dude, we just got to keep being cool to each other. Got to go play Warzone. All right, my dude. Stream goes well. Yeah, dude, the VOD will be available, so thanks for hanging out, Big Bear. All right, Mark, let's get into Snow Sleep.
So Snow Sleep.
Tell me about it.
Snow Sleep is about a... little girl whose parent, mother or father, it's not really specified, nor does it really matter, is abandoned. And the parents abandoning children is a tried and true human tradition.
Really?
Oh yeah. People have been doing it forever. Back in the day, death by exposure was like a big deal. Like, you know, a village of 20 people has a kid, and that kid's not going to be able to like push a plow. Just kind of set it in the woods and be like, sorry, kiddo.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And so obviously in our modern era, that happens a lot less because, you know, we have healthcare, so that person can like be taken care of.
Sure.
But it still happens. And so the reason why isn't really explored but it's this little girl. It switches back and forth between the mother, and it's not necessarily a little girl either. It's really just a child and a parent.
Okay.
But I lost my train of. Oh yeah. So it goes back and forth between the little girl remembering what her mom said, and then just like a narrator.
Okay.
Right. And she is left out in the woods in the snow by a river, and she freezes to death. And so it's called Snow Sleep because she dies in the snow.
Yeah.
That's the name of the track.
Yeah. No, that's totally perfect. Question: why'd you hyphenate it? I mean, I've always been curious about that.
It's another Kenning.
Oh my god, I should have known. Dude, I swear I was about to say that probably has something to do with, and then you said it's a Kenning, and I was like, oh, I'm so stupid.
Now, I'm probably overusing and slightly misusing Kennings, but this is how I understand them. It's a concise way to say something else in a somewhat poetic manner. And it's usually done with a dash. So, there you go.
I think that's beautiful.
A little hyphen.
I love that. So the song starts off by someone saying, wait by the river, something has changed, something is different, I know, where have you gone, it's getting dark, was I left behind, you are far away, where have you gone?
So this is the little girl, or I guess I do say she, so it is distinguished later that it is a little girl, but this is her walking through the woods, and, you know, if ever, I remember being a little kid once, and my dad, the Vax, yep, the Kennings. I do a lot of Kennings in this album and the Almanac. So
and also Chapter of Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Old Norse stuff. Anyway, I remember one time my dad, we were with him somewhere, and he was like, oh, I forgot something back in this building we were just in. Wait right here, I'll be back. He was probably gone for 45 seconds, but to like little 4-year-old Mark, I was terrified, right? And I remember feeling like, oh, I don't like this, I'm by myself, stranger danger, but Dad said stay right here, so I'm going to stay right here, but I don't like staying right here, and I'm not allowed to be alone, but Dad said stay right here, and he's in charge, and by the time I'm like, he's back.
Yeah, he's already back.
And that's kind of what she's doing. She's walking, and she's like, Mom said wait by the river, I'm supposed to stay here, and then eventually she's been out there for such a long time, and she's like, nah, this isn't right, like, something's changed, something's different. Like,
so it starts off by like a memory of what someone told you, and then an internal monologue.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, it probably is. Yeah, it probably is, Vax. Straight up, like 90% of the things I use, I misuse. Yeah.
Sounds about right. Me too.
Yeah. The two most common Kennings that I refer to as Whale Road and Sky Candle. Those are the two most common Kennings that I refer to from the old books. But yeah, and then it's just her wondering, like, where did my mom go? Did I just get abandoned? Did she forget me?
Yeah.
Was I left behind? It's getting dark. It's just all very straightforward things a little kid would think.
And I want to take a moment. We didn't do this before on previous albums, but I'm curious about this one because there's a lot of like dialogue and there's like 3 voices ultimately. That's all sung. And then the next part, fear, child hardened by snow, given up to the cold, is like kind of like painfully yelled.
Yeah, so these are the same yells that I really started using in Behind Leaves and Vines in the Almanac.
I was a pilgrim.
Yeah, and then the world was silent, cold.
That's
she
right.
She lifted her head, which I very much really enjoy Niche from Alcest, and so I very much was inspired by him. But yeah, this is like the narrator, and this is, I mean, child hardened by snow, given up to the cold. So, hardened by snow because your body's freezing, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting stiff, and then given up to the cold. Not that she has given up, but her parent gave her to the cold. Her parents set her. Yeah, what they used to do, but I can't remember the culture. But they used to climb a hill and set a kid on a stone. Like that was the appropriate place to do it, and just boom, there you go.
Sounds kind of Greek. Like maybe the Greek culture might have done something like that. Might have been. Okay. Then another, where have you gone? It's getting dark. Is that the little girl?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay,
it's the same thing.
Follow along the riverbed. You'll find her waiting there. Breathe into your hands.
Oh, sorry. It's one of my favorite parts to do. So this is her talking to herself some more. So she's like, okay, we walked along the river to get here, so I'm just gonna follow the river back, and she'll be there. She's gonna be in the parking lot. She's gonna be in the car. Mom's gonna be by the car. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna see her there. My hands are cold. Yeah. So it's just like self-soothing reassurance, even though she you know, I don't know how old she is, but she's pretty little. Like, in my mind, I think of her being younger than 10. Okay. And so she's just kind of self-soothing, and it's not going well.
Oh boy. Okay. Then it sounds like the narrator. She yields to the ground, white breath above, a quickly waking ghost. She knows this is the last moon. This is the last time she'll lie awake, screaming out, asking forgiveness. Mother, please come back.
So
that is a well-illustrated, painful scene.
Yeah, so she can't walk anymore. So I think of yielding. I chose the word yield because it insinuates defeat. No one yields because they won. You know, it insinuates even if it's playful. Like if we're sparring and like, you know, you pin me and I'm like, okay, I yield. It's like you bested me.
Right.
So in this situation, the elements bested her. Her mother's desire for her to die in the woods bested her. She lost control. She lost agency, as we say in D&D a lot, right? And that's where the lack of control comes in this song, because a lot of the really worst pain is pain where you have no choice.
Yes.
And so she yields to the ground, and then white breath above a quickly waking ghost. I wanted to almost talk about like switching places. So the song is called Snow Sleep, right? Because the living being is falling asleep. Death. Those are the dogs.
Yay, we have puppies.
Yay. So the living being is falling asleep, and then again, allegorically, the ghost is taking its place, right? The sun is setting, the moon is rising. So white breath, and like we think of ghosts, you know, as being like white, shadowy figures, right, you know, like with chains and shit. And so the white breath coming out, it's like her ghost like leaving her body.
Oh wow.
Not, you know, again, just kind of figuratively, but the ghost
Sure.
leaving the body, she's dying. So it's like almost like this what's it called when two things go in a different direction but they're related? It's like on a graph. Like one thing goes up and one thing goes down.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's a word for it, but it's basically the
intercepts.
Two things.
Here,
Nah.
draw a cab. Where you at, dog? I know you know math.
Mutually, whatever. It's basically like switching places. Okay. And she realizes that correlation. Yeah, it's something like correlation.
Mutually exclusive?
Not mutually exclusive. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But essentially, she realizes like she's gonna die, and we know death at a very young age. Like we understand death as a concept in a really young age. What's that?
Food was delivered.
For who?
Food was delivered?
We didn't order anything. Did you order anything?
I didn't order anything. Okay, well, we're gonna take a quick break really fast, and we will BRB. We appreciate you all.
We randomly got delivered food.
Someone just delivered us food. I don't know. We'll be right back.
For the wrong house. We'll be right back.
I think it is for the wrong house, but I'm just gonna go double check on it.
Sure.
I want to make sure like everything's good to go. So let me switch over to this really quick, everybody.
Okay, so it's good.
And here. All right, so it's kind of a good news, bad news. The good news is,
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. The bad news is the food was not for us. It was just the wrong apartment.
Bummer.
Totes bummer. Okay, but what we were talking about is like the way that you have these two elements. The sun is rising, her breath is leaving, she is dying, a new day is coming.
Yeah.
There's a sort of like thing going on there.
And then the last thing that's important is asking forgiveness. So unfortunately, there's this thing that's true. When you're a victim of abuse, you often think it's your fault. It's just like, I don't know why. It's just like you're the one who has to fix it. You've got an abusive spouse, you have an abusive boss, you have an abusive friend. You think like, what do I got to do to change it? What did I do to deserve this? What no, I'm gonna get off on a rant. I'm gonna hold that back.
Okay. Smart.
But essentially, like, she thinks this is her fault.
Yeah.
Which there's no way a child being abandoned by their parent could be the proper reaction to anything that child did.
Sure.
Right? But she she's blaming herself, and she's begging her mom to come back to pull her out of the snow, and it ain't happening.
And I think we're going to get into how that sort of cycle occurs in your mentality when you're speaking to yourself at the end of the song. I think there's going to be a recurring theme going on there.
Probably.
Okay, so then she sort of begins asking the rhetorical questions. What did I do? Why did she leave? I didn't mean to ... I'll do better, I swear. This is them trying to like go through that whole process.
Yeah, it's her trying to like, and that's the fucking sad thing, man. That's the sad thing about victimization, is that her last thoughts, as she's dying, her last thoughts are her being stuck in that cycle of like an abused psyche. That's how her life ends. That's the final chapter. She goes out blaming herself for the violence she has received, and that's it. You know,
there's no happy ending here.
No, not on any of these songs.
No, there's not. Then it's just plain out. She says, "It's my fault. She did this to herself."
So the first one is her, and then the second one is her mom.
What?
Yeah,
it's like a guilt thing going on there.
Yeah. So the daughter, the young girl, she's like, "It's my fault," and then the mom says she did this to herself. Unfortunately, you know, my wife works with a lot of victims of domestic abuse, and a lot of abusers, they find ways in their head to make it make sense what they did. You know, so it's just like, yeah, like, I get it. It's not right to hit my wife, but like, how do I know she's not going to go out late at night again and risk getting herself, you know, attacked? And it's like, those are not the same thing, but they, in their head, again, I'm not an expert, these are just things I know, in their head that makes sense. So the mom, she's like, you know, obviously at this state, you'd have to be like severely mentally like messed up in your head. But she's like, you know, hey, she did this to herself. My daughter, she's a piece of shit, you know, maybe she ruined my marriage, maybe she's too much of a burden, you know, maybe her daughter made a mistake that got her sibling killed, right? And so the mother's just full of hate, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Oh, yay, gifted subs.
Yo, Taniel with the gifted, dude. Thanks so
Taniel.
much, Taniel. You're the best, man.
Appreciate you, bud. That's
I appreciate
awesome.
you guys.
But essentially it's that. So it's like there's just like there's so much like mental fuckery going on when there's an abusive relationship. Somebody is they've snowed.
Oh, here we go.
Somebody's snowed themselves and snowed the person that they are victimizing, and it sucks. And that's what this little girl knows while she dies. She's fucking less than 10, and that's it for her.
Holy crap.
Sucks.
Well, then
I'm getting pissed, and it's not even real.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, I'm over here kind of getting a little heated that these are realities in our world, and that kind of transcends the album concept, which is, can I have some sort of empathy to any degree for what I'm being told about?
Exactly. So the fact that you're getting pissed means that we did our job when we wrote this album.
You did your job. I mean, just reading this and you just kind of describing, like, oh yeah, the little girl thinks to herself as her dying thought, it's my fault, and then we sort of hear the mom's voice say, yeah, she did it to herself, and you're like, and you want to go defend the little girl and save her and, like, you know, treat the mom in a certain way, and it's
no good.
And you can't, because you can't save everyone, you can't be a hero, and whatever the fuck. Anyway, okay, so then the song closes out with a cascading choir of Mark.
Which was actually your idea. You were like, let's cascade vocals, and we fucked around with it, and we made it work.
And it sounds pretty cool. Where you say, was I left behind? You are far away. This is my fault. I will be fine. Where have you gone? You are far away. It seems like a sort of self-defeating cycle. Mm-hmm. Because that's, if I remember correctly, that's why we had you keep repeating it into like the chaosium that turned into just the white noise.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Like her consciousness is fading. She's dying. Her thoughts are getting muddier. I don't know what it's like to die, but I would imagine your thoughts as you slowly die become muddier, become more confused. They get more washed out. They start to blend into each other.
Oh god, it makes me think of that album Caretaker at the end of everything.
Oh dude,
when like the music is like, you're like, I kind of remember this theme, but it's not familiar.
I still haven't listened to it because I want to listen to that
Same.
when I have 6 hours to lay on the floor by myself and just get emotionally destroyed.
Just
that's
ruined.
and I'm gonna regret it, and it's not gonna be it. But I mean, that's really all there is to say about those lyrics. A lot of the storytelling came from the audio production, from the vocal production that was put onto it.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of the choices that we made when deciding on reverbs, or when you were deciding, okay, I'm gonna scream this like Nige, or I'm going to sing this and we're gonna have a vocoder effect. Like, all those decisions help tell the story.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Beagle's asking the album. It's Caretaker.
Caretaker at the end of everything. I'll pull it up really quick for you guys.
The album is about dementia. It's instrumental, but it's about, the album tries as best as it can to
Oh, sorry, it's Everywhere at the End of Time. My mistake.
oh yeah, the Caretaker is the band, and Everywhere at the End of Time. It's 6 hours and 30 minutes, but
This
the
is
album
an endeavor.
the album is built to exemplify the experience of losing your mind to dementia.
To dementia specifically. Yeah. It's from what we have watched of other people's reaction after listening to it, and they kind of do like a before and after. Like, before, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to this album, here's what I'm expecting, and then they do an after, and they're all just like just worked, bro, emotionally distraught, and just ruined the whole way through.
Yeah.
So okay, well, that is Snow Sleep.
Yep.
Holy shit, that is definitely, which is, for how, I don't know if it's a result of like writing, good music writing and good delivery and all the stuff that we did, or if there's a lyrical implication here, but most of the people who listen to this album, that's the song that sticks to them.
Yeah.
Which surprises me a lot, because I would think that is the least shared experience, is abandoning a child, but maybe there's a sense of abandonment, or maybe the lyrics don't even matter.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It probably speaks to different people for different reasons,
Yeah, maybe it's just like sonically enjoyable, and that's kind of the primary draw, and then the other stuff supplements it.
Probably.
Okay, track 3 of 4. Oh, Daniel, Torchpassing ruined me from within. Oh boy. Sorry to hear that, dude, but we're gonna deep dive it right now. So if you have any questions, or if you want to share your experience, let us know. We'd love to read about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you start off by saying,
Well,
tell us about the song.
So let's talk about Torchpassing. So Torchpassing is based, this one I can talk about, is based on my mom taking care of my great aunt while my great aunt was dying of cancer.
Wow.
Now, in the story, I changed it to be about a child and a parent, because I was like, okay, I just had this really shitty relationship between a child and a parent. Maybe I want to bring a little light into the album and talk about a good relationship, right? Who did the humming? The humming on which album?
I think that all of the vocals on this album are done by Mark. I have had my pieces in the past, but this album was all Mark.
That's true. Yes, so Torchpassing, is there humming in Torchpassing?
I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head at this very moment, but I trust that Daniel's got some info there.
So Torchpassing is about, like, again, so my mom,
There is.
No, those are lyrics.
Where
Yeah.
they are lyrics. Not that part. That's a different song.
Whatever, we'll figure it out. I remember because it's my favorite song. Good point. Right before Growing Still. What?
Oh yeah. Right here. So it's like.
Okay, I see.
That part.
So that's not, this is why I was confused, and this is me being like a technical asshole. It's not humming because I'm saying.
That's true. That was the performance.
So my lips are open, so I guess technically it's not humming.
But hey, humming has been a motif for us in the past, so I'll take it. If that's what you interpreted it as.
Exactly.
Tight.
Exactly. So.
Okay, so your mom's aunt is passing away.
Yeah, my mom's taking care of my great aunt. My aunt's dying, and they knew it was going to happen. Now my mom is a registered nurse, and so to just be there, my mom was her home health nurse for the past couple months. She lived there for 3 months.
Like a hospice almost?
Yeah,
okay.
like in-home hospice. My mom just did that for her. Right? And so that means that my mom was there as my aunt died. So my aunt, like, my mom grew up in a very abusive household, and my aunt was who my mom would go to when she, like, didn't feel safe, when she didn't want to be at home. And so this person meant a lot to her, right? She was also, like, the fun, like, kind of, like, growing up, they lived out on a farm. There wasn't a lot of fun, but, my great aunt Juanita was her name. She lived kind of more in the city, so she'd like take her out on the town, and so it was a very meaningful relationship. And now this is like this broken, frail woman in this bed, and my mom walked in, and the way she describes the story, my aunt was like talking to her, and my mom just fucking knew. Somehow, my mom was just like, "This is gonna happen right now." She just fucking knew.
Like her cognitive function just changed so drastically.
Yeah, and
wow.
I think, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. Human beings have been living around each other for millions of years. That we can pick up on each other's emotions, and so
micro expressions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think it makes sense, and so my mom kind of like lifted her into her arms and just held her, and she just died.
Jesus fucking.
And so that's what happened, right? And so in this story, I changed it about a parent and a child, and I talked about my dad. I changed the story to be about my dad. This song, I'm thinking about having to say goodbye to my dad eventually someday.
Yeah.
Because for anybody who doesn't know, like 7 or 8 years ago, my dad was in a really bad car accident, and his brain got fucked up, smashed in like 6 places, and he became permanently disabled. And he continually deteriorates, right? And as he deteriorates, we all see him slowly dissipating. And it's just like, this is what it's going to be, and it's pretty tough. So this song, I guess, is not an experience I've lived, but one I know I'm going to. So when that happens, we have a choice, right? So I guess in this sense, you do have some sense of a choice, because man, I'm trying to talk about many things at once. So in this song, the element of choice that has been taken is the parent.
Yes.
The parent's gone. However, one of the ways that we can deal with tragedy is giving it permission to happen, right? Now, obviously, that does not mean giving permission for our abusers to abuse us, but when something outside of our power that's not maybe in a cycle of violence happens, you can literally give that thing permission to happen. One thing that we have as humans that's a really powerful tool that we don't use very much is anthropomorphization, giving a sense of consciousness to a thing.
Like human qualities to a non-human object.
Exactly, and we can do that same thing with experiences too, and that can actually be a really good, healthy coping skill too. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the first lines, is that process.
Let's get into it then.
Yeah.
You start off by saying, "You can sleep in peace. Come to me first, come to me first. You are home. Come to me first, come to me first. I know you. There is hope in the empty spaces."
So you can sleep in peace is I say child, but it's a grown adult.
Right.
Is the son or daughter's permission, saying like, it's okay, mom. Like, you can go now.
Like, it's time.
Like, they're
Yeah.
in the image for the artwork. That's another thing to point out, is that all the artwork pertains to the image, and I think in this one they're looking at a little globe. But
yeah, it's that one.
yeah, it's that one. So she's kind of like whispering to this globe. But anyway, so imagine like holding your parent who's dying, and you literally say to their face, like, it's okay, you can let go. You don't have to keep fighting. You don't have to keep pushing. Like, it's all right. And that's an experience that I'm sure sucks. And then the rest is just kind of swirling thoughts, right? Your parents, hopefully if you have good parents, your parents will say to you, like, hey, if anything happens, come talk to me. Like, you can talk to me about anything. Like, you're home, you're safe, this is where you belong, this is a good environment. And then the last line, there's hope in the empty spaces, is basically the son or daughter trying to tell themselves, like, this person's absence doesn't have to suck. But it's going to suck.
It's going to suck. Yeah, I think it's kind of like a coping mechanism to speak to yourself like that. Okay, so then you say, "Speak to me in honest answers now. See the light behind your eyes, and you will find every thought that you have lost. Echo songs," there's another kinning, "from far away in the woods."
So this stanza is really fucking jumbled up. It's not really clear even to me who's speaking. But I think when I was writing it, I was kind of messed up when I was writing this, because I was thinking about having to have this experience with my dad in the future. Anyways, so it's not really clear who's talking, but it's just all about honesty and introspection and acceptance. right? So it's like, this person's fucking dying, right? There's no reason to put on a mask. There's no reason to be dishonest. I mean, I'm not saying like open up all your secrets, but like you can just be fucking real in that moment, right?
Yeah.
So the light behind your eyes, and you will find. I think that involves like looking. When I was writing that, if I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say, it involves like looking back into your memories. Like looking back into your memories and trying to find something to hold on to in this person's absence, because certainly their presence and support won't exist. And Echo Songs was a kenning for memories.
Oh,
So like
nice.
every like with your uncle, right? Like all these, like you said, all these memories of going to Mexico and, you know, going camping and everything, like the dirt bikes came back, and they're not anything that you had thought for a long time.
Correct.
And then the woods is just kind of a metaphor for our mind. So that's that. It's really messy, but kind of purposefully so. Yeah.
When I'm interpreting this, I see it as like a sort of dialogue, but also the introspection. Specifically when you say from far away in the woods, to me that means like, it's not that it's a distant memory, it's that there are so many other things that we in a modern society, or also a modern evolution, like prioritize. We prioritize like maybe like, I don't know, getting to work on time, getting enough sleep, doing the laundry. Like there's menial things that get in the way of like that experience you had with a very specific person that you now have to go through like the archive of the forest to find that one tree in the whole forest. Let's get caught up on chat really quick. The next day they have. So I have dreams that often come true, and it's a very weird feeling, says Vax. That's very interesting. The big chord change and the instrumental break before the line "growing still" gives me major chills. It's truly insane. Yeah, I think I know those chords that he's talking about. It took us a long time to develop those, but I do like them as well. I'll gift a sub if Mark can do that part for us.
Which part?
Wait, which part? I mean, he's right here. Yeah, good job, dude. We just turned this up.
What's the
it might be like the like maybe it's something like that. I'm not sure. Oh, the humming.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the humming.
I'm coming off of a 7-hour day of lessons, so I'm admittedly a little vocally tired.
I mean, it sounds good to me.
I think you don't have to gift a sub, but that's my memory of how the melody goes. I think
That sounds right. That totally sounds right.
It's definitely a little tight after all the lessons and now all the talking. But
yeah, now I'm kind of curious though.
Tomorrow will be a vocal rest day.
Hold on, I'm gonna turn it up just a smidge. I just want to hear this song.
Yeah, right here.
It is an instrumental. You want me to put on the full song?
No.
Yeah, that's it, baby. And then like the vocoder comes in, which I think so it's a choir now.
Yeah, that's the section.
Yeah, that's totally the section though. Oh, dude, Chris with the love, baby. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
dog.
man.
Yeah, man, that's so sick.
Oh, we got a Jackson in the chat, or at least hanging out. What's up, Jackson?
Oh, what up, Jake? Yeah, thanks again, everybody, for being here and hanging out. I know it's heavy stuff, but I really appreciate you guys hanging out and asking questions and sharing your stories. It kind of helps me. I don't know about Mark, but it helps me like better recognize that we're on the right track. We're doing the right stuff. We're writing like good music subjectively while also maybe objectively. It doesn't really matter at that point, but it's just nice to have the affirmation.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And that we all share these types of experiences, or that we will.
That's me.
Okay.
Give a fuck about it.
Yeah, just ghost main out of nowhere. Okay. So then you say growing. That is the wrong.
I think you got to go up a little bit.
Oh yeah, did I? Speak to me in honest answers now.
Oh,
no,
no,
the light
you're right,
behind
you're
your
right,
eyes.
you're
Echo
right,
songs. Growing still, growing cold. Your lifeless body I won't forget. Interesting. This sounds like an allusion back to Snow Sleep almost. Growing still, growing cold.
I guess it could be. You could certainly see it that way. Although when people die, they just get cold.
Yeah, no, I totally
That's
get
just, it. That's just what it is. I want to go hug my parents
Aww,
right now.
chicken. Give him a hug.
Send
dude.
them a hug.
Yeah, everybody text your mom or dad right now and just say, hey, just a heads up, I love you. And then just drive by compliments and love. You know what I'm saying? Like, why ain't that a thing? Start it. # drive by compliments.
Yeah. You look nice. No, maybe don't do that.
No, not catcalling. Just like, hey, I love you. Then that's it. And then you walk out of the room and they're like, rude.
Rude, yeah.
Kinda, not rude, I guess. Okay, so still growing cold, your lifeless body, I won't forget.
So that's kind of just it. But, like, you know, the unfortunate thing is for a long time, this is going to be the most visceral memory they have of this person.
Yeah.
Eventually that'll change. But for some time, this is going to be the most visceral memory they have is of this person dead.
I just came up with a term that sounds really accurate for that.
What's that?
The way I want to say it is... I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to say, like, indentured pain. Like, it's something that you absolutely must experience unless that person just abandoned you at the beginning of your life and you don't know who they are anyway.
Something like that could work.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you go on to say, patience, I will wait for... actually, you don't say this.
No, I don't say this. So this is actually guest vocals from a guy that we've kind of lost a lot of contact with.
Yeah, he kind of just vanished into the background.
Yeah, but his name is Patterson. Mm-hmm. And he had a project that he no longer has. Took all the music done. You can't find it anywhere. Called Hollow Oceans. And I just loved his falsetto. I was like, bro, your falsetto's beautiful. And so he...
And you're on his albums.
And I'm on his... Well,
one album.
The album that's gone.
Yeah, it's not there. You can't find it anymore. But
yeah. Anyways, he wrote these lyrics and they just kind of fit thematically. And his falsetto was beautiful. And we put it in there. The way I interpret these lyrics is that, I don't know, they're just kind of holding on to memories, I suppose.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, just kind of like going through those memories.
Yep.
Okay, well then you say again, first sight of snow. Oh god, I love this part, dude.
First sight of snow,
this shit slaps.
Smell of our home when I was so young.
Oh!
Yeah, that.
Oh, the heartache.
The Jade notes. So around here we call those Jade notes. Ba, 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 ba.
Yep. That.
When you resolve on that, whatever that would be in music theory, we call it a Jade note.
Yeah, we do. And so like we'll be in the studio and Mark will sing an entire part, and then out of nowhere I'll just be like, Mark, now do it with a Jade note. And he's just like, okay. And he like has to think it through and sing it through really quick, and then we hit record, and that's how we get shit like this.
Happy birthday to you. Is that what it would be? Happy birthday to you. I don't know.
It's hard to do when you're on the spot.
I don't know the rules that govern it.
Me either, but you slapped it here, dude, so it doesn't matter, right?
Go.
So what are you talking about here? Is this just a memory? Like another memory that you kind of are calling back?
So this is like looking into your childhood and remembering your childhood, but this is like a very specific memory. So there are some things, and again, I don't know if I explain this well or if other people experience it. I think probably. But there are some memories that are just like heartwarming and they're really fucking simple. And for me, they tend to involve just like a sensory input. So one of the things I remember the most being young is like laying down and then the sun coming through the window and then the carpet, like just you know, when you're little, you're so patient. Like in so many ways, you're impatient. You know. I want to go do this, I want to go do that, I don't want to go to bed. But in other ways, you're very willing to just sit and observe the world. You know, just laying down and kind of taking in the room or like staring out the window or something and just noticing, oh, there are two different colors here. This is warm, this is cool. You know, just kind of, you know, oh, I can see all my hairs on my hand. And these are really like good memories for me. And so these, or like the smell of people's houses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if I can guarantee and I don't know what creates it, but so one of my best friends is Ricky, and we spent a lot of time, he lived with his grandparents. You know him very well. He lived with his grandparents for a long time, so I spent every weekend at his grandma and grandpa's house for 7 years.
Wow.
And in my head, I can smell their house right now.
That's sick.
And if I ever was to smell that, like any emotion I had would be replaced with just nostalgia, just like, oh.
Yeah.
And so that's what these memories are like, and they're kind of generic, right? First sight of snow, sun on the carpet. I probably wouldn't have said first sight of snow. Looking back, just coming up from snow sleep, it insinuates the songs are connected when they're not. So I might have said first night of something else.
Sure.
But that's what it is. Like those memories that we kind of hold on to. and are very visceral. You know a really weird thing I have that with?
What?
I think it's Dial unscented liquid soap.
Yep.
Liquid hand soap.
Yep.
You too.
I do. Yeah, my grandma, every time we would go to her house, it was like every Monday we'd go eat dinner at her house, and like she'd be cooking, so there's tons of
we
smells.
talked about this recently.
Yeah, there's tons of smells in the room, in the house already, because like the kitchen is just like going ablaze for hours on end. And then she would say, okay, like dinner's almost ready, and so I'd have to run into the bathroom and wash my hands. And the soap, she always had the same scent, and every time I'm at the store, I have to crack it open and smell it.
Yeah, there it is. That shit.
That's yours?
Yeah, that's like the older. Oh, it's too bright, but that's the older bottle.
It.
So for me, I have that experience with the soap because my parents, when I was little, I didn't like to clean my body in the shower. I would just sit in the hot water and be like, and then I'd get out. And so my parents, when I was really, really young, they would buy me soap with toys in it, so that I'd use the soap and get to the toy. I'd just crack that shit in half. But I remember like sitting there, and I would be sitting there in the shower, like little fucking Mark, trying to get at the toy in the middle, and it was just like this really, I don't know, I really love that. Just like, I'm gonna get this fucking Jar Jar Binks, you know? And I do that now in the shower. Yeah. No, I do that now in the shower too. I just am adult, so I'm like, all right, dude, fucking scrub your nuts. Like, you gotta do it, right?
You gotta do the thing.
Anyways, so that's The Trees Won't Sing Without You is not in the song.
Oh, Tanya, we'll see you later, dog. Thanks so much
See you,
for the
Tanya.
gift,
Thanks
man.
for hanging.
Super appreciate you.
But anyways, yeah. So there's that.
Okay, so that's the whole. It's like it's a bunch of memories that are like sung there, and then we move on to the humming part or the oohing part, as you clarified. Bunch of oohs, ooh, ah, ah. Is it that kind of ooh? No, definitely. I mean, you can tell the cringe fest over here.
Yeah.
So then you say, the trees won't sing without you. I would sit in your forest forever, forever. The chanting of your leaves with me for always, for always. I will follow your footsteps. I will walk behind. I will follow your footsteps. I will forget.
So The Trees Won't Sing Without You, that's not in the song. Yeah, that's not in the song. I legitimately don't know where that came from.
Well, truth be told, I copy-pasted the lyrics sheets that are on the Google Drive.
Hey, so I probably thought about doing it and then didn't. And it's still on there.
Oh, tight.
So, the forest here, I'm reusing the, what does nut
Scrubber kenning
nut
for?
scrubber. So, that would be a kenning for like a washcloth, you know, or like a loofah. Yeah,
nut scrubber, right?
You know. Anyway, I'm getting
this is too much.
I'm getting too creative. But so this is another like look back at a forest being a metaphor or whatever for a person's mind, personality, being. And so this is actually from a poem I wrote about accepting my dad's death. I already wrote this poem a couple years ago, and I reworded it here. But this is I won't forget you. I will sit in your forest forever. The chanting of your leaves, so echo songs from the woods. The shaking of your leaves is like the things you taught me, the things you told me, the lessons I learned from you.
Yeah.
Like for example, one thing I'll always remember for my dad with my dad is he would always whenever it would rain for a good time, we'd go out into the yard and we'd dig for bugs through the mud. And we'd see like what kind of beetles we could find, and if I found a worm, he'd be like, "Oh, that's a big one," and I'd be like, "Oh, I know." And so my dad, growing up, I've told people this before, and they think it's weird. I never thought it was weird, but he would always buy my sister and I Valentine's cards, because he was always like, Valentine's don't have to be romantic. It's just for anybody you love. And so he would always give me a nickname in the card based on like our activities. So he'd be like, "Happy Valentine's Day to my favorite bug catcher,"
sure,
and things like that, right? So that would be the chanting of the leaves, those memories of my dad.
Wow.
Right. You know, I remember one time we found a Palo Verde beetle with moss growing on it. It was the wildest fucking thing. I don't know how that happened because they don't live long enough, but it was there. Anyways,
that's incredible.
So that's that. Now this part is a little different. So I will follow your footsteps. I'll walk behind. I will follow your footsteps. I'll forget. So this completely opposes the lines right before it. So, you know, I'll follow my dad's footsteps. That's obvious. I'll try to be a good person. I'll try to be half the man my dad was.
Right.
But also, I'm gonna fucking die too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my life. I'm gonna lose my ability to take care of myself. So I will follow your footsteps. Eventually, I might get dementia. Eventually, like, I'm promising myself I'll never forget you, but I don't have a choice. I will. You will, not only will you forget the people you love, but you will be forgotten.
Yes.
And you can't change it. Like, no one's gonna fucking know your name or my name.
Right.
And nothing that we did is gonna have an impact 50 years from now.
Exactly.
Really. And if it does, it won't be linked to us directly. Right? So it's like, it's an acceptance. It's an acceptance of that, like, you know, I'll try my best to never forget you, but, like, one day I will. Because I'll either be dead or I'll have dementia. Right?
Yeah, one or the other. You will be forgotten somehow.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your control or not. Okay, well, that brings us to the fourth and final track on this EP. It is called Heartache. Tell us about this track, Mark.
So this song, it doesn't specify the situation, and you can interpret it however you want. But the song was written with the idea... I think we lost our music, but I guess it doesn't matter.
Is it not on loop?
Might not be. Whoa.
Oh, no, this is just the long, drawn-out cascade where it eventually turns into like this.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Heartache is about... You can interpret it in any way that you want, of course, but Heartache, in my mind, is a single dad with 2 kids, and he's single because his wife got in a car accident and died.
Again, unavoidable. Again, a shared experience with someone you love being lost.
Exactly. And so right now, the dad is in the living room. His kids have been put to bed, and he's just, like, forced into this situation he can't handle.
And
Wife's
definitely
dead.
wasn't ready for.
Definitely wasn't ready for. Wife's dead. Half the income is gone. He's got 2 kids to take care of. He was obviously married because he received, you know, love and affection and caring from this person, and that is gone. And so, like, he's given all of this loss, and he has to manage it somehow. And so it's him basically having this conversation with himself, just depressed in the living room.
Jesus.
Yeah, sitting at the coffee table, just hating everything.
All right. Well, let's begin. It starts off with, I am lost without your eyes on my eyes, and the children, they are silent, unable to understand you are dead underground.
Yeah. So
that's pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. It's basically like I'll never get to look in your eyes again. Like, I'll never see your eyes. Like, the experience, and, you know, because our eyes carry so much emotion when we look at each other, that's like a thing. And so he's like, without that, there's nothing. And the kids don't understand. And it's my job to make them understand. I have to make them understand you're not coming back. You're dead. It's done. There's no reversing it. And that's that.
Jesus. Then you say, sleep next to me like you did and like you'll never do again. No strength left. Tell me, how am I supposed to love them on my own? Is this the guy, like, sort of like talking to her spirit, like, sleep next to me like you once did, like,
yeah,
like longing for it?
Exactly. Like, he's wishing solely for her presence, like just to be, like, next to her. Like, if, like, you know, it's interesting when we're in the process of grief. Usually we ask for things that are seemingly very simple, right? We're like, you know, it's like, you know, oh, I don't want anything, just to see you for, like, 5 minutes. Like you don't have to even talk to me. We don't have to get back together, but just 5 minutes. Can I just see you for 5 minutes? That seems so reasonable, and you ask for the least amount that you can, so hopefully you get something. But you're not going to in this situation. So he's, like, kind of begging the situation, but it's not going to happen. And you know, he's worried about loving his children because he's so broken. And, you know, he's not being loved because his wife's dead. And his children, they love him, but they're your kids. They can't support you emotionally the same way your friends and family and spouse and, you know, whoever can.
Sure.
So he's like, all of the emotional burden of caring for someone is on me now. And I'm so broken. How am I even gonna manage? How am I gonna navigate that process? That's that.
Okay. Then it's just very, very straightforward. This is permanent. I am powerless. These are like declarations.
Yeah.
Like, this is permanent. I am powerless. It's like just declaring into the universe.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
My situation. Then you go into this very descriptive and highly specific thing that I think we can even say might even have influenced why we're writing the album we're currently writing, which is you say perfume bottles and an unfinished painting. Our house claims that you are still here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I wanted to make this grief very, very, very recent, like within the past 7 days, right? So we learn a little bit about his wife here as well. She at least owned perfume. She liked painting. She was a painter, so maybe there's an easel up. Maybe she had her own little art room, and there's a painting that she was working on, and it's never going to be finished. And the house is put together as if she still exists. It's like her clothes are still in the closet. Her, like, maybe there's a mug of half-drank tea on the counter.
Or groceries that she would eat that you wouldn't, that are in the fridge still.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's tough. And part of the reason I wanted to say an unfinished painting is because for some reason, to me, seeing something that was in the process of being done that they won't finish is harder than seeing something that they owned.
I know, because that's where their heart was. Like, their heart was into a thing that is now
and it's done. And we know people so much by their behavior, right? By the things that they do. Like if my wife was to die, gotta shake that off.
Yeah, go ahead and just get that out of there.
Like, I would go home and I would see an unfinished painting, which at the time Katie wasn't into painting, so it wasn't drawn from that, but now she is. I would see her plants, and right now she's got one like half dug up with like the trowel out. I would see...
You'd see Dozer.
Yeah, I would see her journal where she has her to-do list, and like 4 of the things are crossed off because she's going to save some stuff for the weekend.
Sure.
And just seeing all those half-finished things would fucking ruin me.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible. And that's what that sentence is.
Yeah, let's shake that one off while we catch up on chat really quick. Vax says, as someone who's been dealing with a difficult breakup, that juxtaposition hits perfectly. Sorry, dude.
It's interesting. Breakups, oftentimes we trivialize them, but they have monitored people's brains who go through breakups, and at a certain point, based more on emotional connection than time, your brain registers the loss of a person like the loss of a limb.
I've heard about this.
Yeah. Your brain registers the loss of a human being like a loss of your own body part, like a piece of you is missing and your brain can't fucking figure it out. And that's part of the reason why I think that's part of the reason why humans feel so isolated when people they don't know on the news are pissed, because we as a human species, not everybody, but we as a human species are very communal, right? And so when I'm driving down the street in Phoenix, right, I'm driving past a bunch of fucking people I don't know. And I'm driving past a lot of businesses that I don't go to. But those businesses make up the community that is the environment that I live on. And all of those people are part of the community that for millions of years has offered me as a human a sense of security. And I think that I'm kind of having a realization about my own writing right now, but I wrote this because a bunch of people I didn't know were pissed off on the internet. And I was just like, man, like, community is like literally falling to shit. Like, everything fucking sucks. Everybody's pissed, everybody's right, everybody's wrong. And so I think that like might be an extension of why some people get so upset when they see everybody fighting on the news and on TV and on the internet, because it's just like, they're human beings that are an extension of your community. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's very interesting. Yo, Phil, what up, my dude? With the gifted. Yo, thanks so much, man. Super appreciate that. Let's go on to our next bit here, and then we'll get back into chat.
Sure.
You then say, how could you have been so careless? Who's saying that, and why does it matter?
So he's saying it to his wife. She's dead, so not to her, I guess. But in my mind, she died in a car wreck, and I wanted it to be something fucking stupid, right? So maybe maybe they could tell, from phone records or whatever, that she was texting, right? Maybe she was texting. Maybe she was switching the song, right? Maybe she, whatever. Maybe she had a really late night and she drove when she was too tired and she fell asleep at the wheel. All of these things, right?
Or maybe like drunk driving. Maybe it's something more overt.
Yeah, maybe it's something more overt for sure. And it's so like now it's painful because he wants to hold on to his love for her, so he has some remnant of her, but most of what he has is anger at her. So the person he feels the most empathy and sorrow for, he is also angry at, and those emotions don't mix well. They're confusing. It's like, I love you, I miss you, please come back, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And look what you've fucking done.
Yeah.
Like, look at this mess that you've created, and I'm supposed to live with this? I'm supposed to handle this because you had to fucking look at your phone when you got a fucking dumb meme texted to you from your fucking sister?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, nothing you were doing mattered this much. But he doesn't want to feel this way because he wants to hold on to some positive memory of her, and so it's just like this.
Oof,
it's the shit. It's just shit.
That is just shit. That is way more intense than I ever gave credit to. Now that's like kind of the perspective you wrote with. Okay, well, here we are. Last stanza on the last song on the most recent album.
Yep.
There is no God who can bring you back. The only truth is that our children haven't slept for days and we are without you.
So this is just a paragraph of acceptance. It's just a paragraph of acceptance. Like, there is literally nothing. There is nothing. There is no power in existence. There is no power in existence that can bring you back from the dead. Won't happen. Not gonna happen. And the only thing that I know for sure, because this guy, I mean, think of like, put yourself in his position. He doesn't know if he's gonna make rent. He doesn't know how his emotional state's gonna be. He doesn't know if he can take care of his children. He doesn't know if he can take time off of work. Well, I mean, your fucking wife just died, right? Yeah, sure. Oh, hey, Bill, what's going on? How's accounting? Did you catch the game? No, you can't fucking do that shit. He doesn't know if he can take care of himself. The only thing he knows for sure is that his kids are fucked up and they're alone. That's it. That's the only truth he can hold on to, is that his kids are traumatized. They can't sleep because they're scared. He can't comfort them and they're alone. The only truth is that they don't have her anymore. And that's how the album ends.
And that's it.
Yeah.
This album doesn't have a feel good, like it's gonna be okay.
No, and it's like, you can't, and that's the thing, like, so much of life is accepting shit that we can't control. And accepting doesn't mean feeling good about it. I think that's a common mistake that a lot of us make that makes us fucking blow our lid 6 months later, is we think that accepting something means not feeling it. And let me tell you, I spent some time in the hospital with enough people to know that that is a catastrophic thing. And so, like sometimes in life you just accept defeat. That's it. Someone was better than you. Someone was more powerful. You yield. Yeah, you yield. And that's how the album ends. There's no resolution. Nothing gets better. And that's it, right? And it's important to be in that space for a little while too. Like, I thought about giving this a positive ending, and I was like, that would really defeat the purpose, because you need to be in pain for a while. It's like, it is so important to be in pain, to be angry, to be hurt, to feel slighted. Obviously you have to move away from it. You have to move past it at some point. But if you ignore these feelings that have worked well for us for millions of years, and that's the thing, man, like, it's old. That's some old shit. Like, that's old. Like, if you think about it, like, the process of emotions, they're like, think about that. Think about emotions for a second. Well, I'm sure you think about emotions a lot, being into like stoicism, and I do too. being into like the human condition, but
yeah,
like, so as everybody knows, I think evolution is one of the fucking coolest things. It's just so interesting, and like, it's so cool. But things that stick around because they are useful or they are powerful. And like, how far back can you trace sadness? anger, fear, millions of years.
Pain.
Pain before humans. Fucking bugs, dude. Like, we were feeling that shit probably before mammals. And people think they're gonna defeat that because they're just gonna take a deep breath. Like, you're going up against forces that are more powerful than, like, fucking Hurricane Katrina that are happening inside your body.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna go, nope. No, please.
I'll be to work on Monday. Yeah, no problem, man.
Like, no, it's not gonna happen, right? And that's why it's really important, though. But that's the other thing. Like, so you have to feel it because you can't fight it. But you also can't let it take over, and that's such a hard thing. Like, no wonder so many people, especially in today's society, have so many mental health issues, right? Because we don't have time to think about our pain, and we're kind of encouraged not to. I mean, you go on Instagram, and how many fucking rich white people in their mid-20s are going like this, looking at a cliff, saying like, just choose to have a better life, just choose to go on vacation, and you're sitting at home, you just got reamed by your fucking boss, and you're like, why didn't I just choose to have a better day?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't fucking work like that. That fucking rich white person on the cave probably got money from their grandma, you know? And so it's just like, it's like this weird bonus. Like, you have to acknowledge your pain, but you also have to have healthy ways to get out of it after a while. And I think that's a really important thing to remember when you're dealing with people who have depression or something. Like, you're dealing with some heavy shit, but it's also their responsibility to get better. Mm-hmm. Like, when I went to the hospital, like, I remember I had a conversation. I've talked about this before. I had a conversation with my wife. We had been dating for 2 fucking years. She didn't know me shit, but we had a conversation, and she said, it was crazy. So I'm sitting in the hospital. I'm not allowed to wear a belt, right? I don't have shoelaces because they don't want me to hang myself. Right. I can't. For the first couple days, I couldn't use the bathroom by myself. I wasn't allowed to. And she brought me clothes that I was allowed to have because I had fucking nothing. And she said, you know, I love you, and I'm here to support you, and we're gonna get through this. But I'm only here if I know for sure that you are doing the work you need to do so this doesn't happen again. She said that straight to my fucking face.
Wow.
Yeah.
The balls.
Yeah. And
the balls.
Well, she's a social worker, right?
Oh, so she's like well versed in being
Yeah.
like, you gotta fix you.
Yeah. She's like, I love you. You're wonderful. You're a beautiful human being. But like, if you're not committed to fixing this, like, fucking see ya.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that might sound harsh, but really, like, the only way to get through like depression and sadness is to find a way to gain your inner strength. You know, that's the only way to do it. And that's not to say that you have to do it by yourself. In fact, the best way to do it is not by yourself. It's by talking to a therapist, or having a really good healthy friendships, or identifying hobbies that are not healthy for you and don't do those things, right? Like, for example, for me, I isolate when I'm really depressed. And lately I've been noticing, in February I was noticing I did not want to hang out with Katie. That's my wife's name. I didn't want to hang out with her. I just wanted to be alone. And I was like, that's a sign.
Wow.
That's a sign. So I need to not do those activities exclusively. So I allowed myself to be alone. I allowed myself to isolate, but only after spending time with her, going on a walk. And I kind of hated it sometimes.
Sure.
But that's not what mattered. And then I got through it. I didn't spiral. I didn't get pulled into that pit. It just lasted for a little while versus days.
Wow.
Now, this is not me saying that this is what works for everybody. Like, what's going to work for you is probably a plan that you build with a experienced therapist and psychologist and somebody who knows how to handle it. But one thing I do know as a commonality is finding your own inner strength is it's the only way this shit gets better.
God dang.
And so I don't really remember how I got off on that tangent. Oh yeah, because you have to accept things. You have to accept, like, emotions sometimes.
Yeah.
And much like the album, I will reach the end of my rant with no real conclusion.
Perfect. I was wondering when we would get there. Oh my gosh, Chud Flap with the gifted.
People in the chat liked it. Look, people in the chat enjoyed the rant.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah,
they
had a
get
good
to
time.
They get to hear who you are, not just who the music is. You guys, I'm sorry, I'm so far behind on this stuff. Aristotle is here. Hi, Aristotle.
What's up, dude?
Captain Jean-Luc Picard quote: "It is possible to commit no mistake and still lose. This is not a weakness. This is life."
Yeah, that is why. I'm just gonna say something. That's why old Star Trek is better than new Star Trek, because old Star Trek was like, let's deal with issues. I'm gonna fuck you up a little bit, and you're just like, the acting in this episode is really bad, but I feel personally attacked. You know, but yeah, that Captain Picard quote is a really good example. A really good example of what I'm talking about.
And shout out to Not the Hollow. Thanks so much for the sub, dude. Super duper appreciate that. You guys, if you're new here, my name's Nico. This is Mark. We're doing deep dives into our album. You can go to our YouTube !YouTube. I think we'll bring up the right link where you can check out all of the previous albums we've already discussed over the last 4 weeks. Also, we've got some new commands up there. !Cardivox will take you to the YouTube channel where this guy's the main guy in charge.
Cyclosoporine ophthalmic emulsion.
Did you just say what? Did you just cast a spell?
No, Vax says, I just wrote a tongue tie of lyrics. Cyclosoporine ophthalmic emulsion. Cyclo, I'm not sure. Sporine, cyclosporine. I don't know what that means, man.
I don't know what that means either. Dear Thesaurus, what? Also, let's get caught up here. Mallard, what's up, Mallard? Says, I'm wondering if the lack of resolution on the album has influenced the creative process for the next album. You know, I did make a mention of this. There's an illustration right there, the third stanza from the bottom. Perfume bottles and an unfinished painting. Again, you're kind of setting the scene. Mark and I refer to this in video games as set pieces. So, like when you're playing Fallout and you come across a house and you're like, oh, cool, another place to loot. Yeah. And you get inside, and there are 2 skeletons on the couch, and there's a bottle of pills between them.
This is one of my favorite set pieces in any video game ever.
Yeah, and then like the TV is still like on with static, and you just have that. And then maybe you venture into the bathroom, and there's also a skeleton in the toilet with a toaster. And it's like everybody in this house killed themselves to avoid the death by fallout. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, if you're just looting, God bless you, get on with your looting. But if you're there for the story, you just got fed like 50% of what that game offers. Mm-hmm. That type of feeling of just like, fuck.
And it's actually really good because that set piece is the whole Fallout universe in one image.
Yep, it's like a macro narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. God, that was good. One of the games that does this the best, which we're not going to go into because it's completely underrated, is The Witcher 3. The camera work in that game, a TV show that does it really well, Handmaid's Tale.
Oh,
that show is good. Yes.
God dang. Well, see, stuff for you guys to check out. Stuff for me to check out, too.
Yeah.
Johan redeemed Nico can't use a pick for 750. You got it, dog.
Yeah, Nico, don't use a pick right now.
I will not use a pick for the rest of the stream. How about that? Okay, but what I was trying to say was kind of answering Mallard's question about this album possibly influencing the next album. We kind of go through these inspirational phases, I would argue, where something of our interest comes across one of us and we share it with the other. And this goes for everybody else in the band too. We just have a group chat. We share it and we see what sticks. Is somebody excited about this? Check out this Doom song. Does this inspire anybody in the band?
Oh yeah, like this whole album was inspired by a band called Halatar.
There you go. Oh yeah, the album we just dug through, The Bearing of Shadows, was inspired by Halatar. I actually have a Spotify playlist of the...
My Mistake is the name of the song.
Yeah, let me see here. It is, my playlist is called Music That Inspired The Bearing of Shadows.
Hey, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's right here. Here, you guys, I'll share it with you in the chat if you guys use Spotify. Here it is. Whoops, sorry, I bumped the microphone. But if we go back, I have a song on here from the same album. It's called Mirrors. Then we had Chris Isaak's Wicked Game.
Yes, that song was huge for a frame of light.
Oh yeah, dude. Then we have, of course, Borin Ender Club of Gore's Prowler. That you guys, I'm gonna give you a little Easter egg for you to go deep dive into next time. Next time you listen to this album, The Bearing of Shadows, listen closely to the ambient break sections where nothing seems to be going on except for maybe drums and light guitar and bass. There is actually whispering in both of your headphones.
Yeah.
There's like this sort of cacophonous, albeit quiet, chaotic like speaking going on. And that was influenced by the concept of creating a smoky feeling environment sonically. Man, I'm going deep right now into the nerd shit. But my point is,
that's good.
We did a lot of these types of elements that, yes, did inspire what we are now writing.
Mm-hmm.
And the album that we're writing about right now is mostly about objects and how they're so important to the human experience.
Yeah. In fact, if you want to watch it, you can. But this whole,
You want me to pull it up?
it's a long video, so you certainly
No,
don't
no. I
have
mean,
to.
like, just provide the link.
Yeah, I just want to find it. So one of my favorite YouTubes is a guy named Jacob Geller. He does like literary analysis, but of video games. And he did this whole video about how Midgar is a visual metaphor for like income inequality, and his videos are just horrifically deep and meaningful, and they add so much value. And I think it's this video, The Intimacy of Everyday Objects. So his video, The Intimacy of Everyday Objects, I was washing dishes, and his video broke my soul with how important the content was. And so this whole album, if you watch that YouTube video, this whole album that we're writing is based on this video, which we can talk about later. But it's a complete juxtaposition to Peripety, where I was just like, items don't matter. And in this object, I'm like, our life is items.
Yeah, so this upcoming album is going to be written with that lens. Oh, hey, Mallard knows Geller. That's cool, man.
Yeah, dude, his channel's the best. He's one of my subscribed to channels that I actually like am subscribed to because I want to see the content.
Yeah. No, I think we all have that feeling somewhere.
Yeah.
So, Born Under Club of Gore, lots of Lantlos.
Oh, dude. Melting Sun was an amazing album.
Melting Sun is a flawless album. So there's the link. There's the Spotify link if you guys want to check that out. Please do hop in there, peep it. So on that note, what should we do next week? What do you want to do next? Should we stream next Thursday? Should we write music? Do you want to go over Iota? Do you want to talk about the new album?
I think that we. So I had an idea. I had an idea for something that might be fun. So talking about the new album, one thing that I'm having difficulty with right now, and one thing that we've talked about as a band is I'm having a lot of difficulty coming up with the right vocals for this upcoming album. And I don't know what the rules are with Metal Blade, but I thought it would be fun. Sometimes some cool stuff that's happened in our music is when you're writing songs here, and people are like, ooh, try to do this with the guitar. Try to do that with the guitar.
Yep.
Now, because on Thursdays I do full days of lessons, I may not be doing full-on vocals. I'm probably not going to be in the booth tracking.
Right.
Just because that would be fucking stupid. If I do a full 6 hours of screaming and then I'm like, okay, let me do 2 more. Like that's cruising for an injury. But it might be fun to like talk melody and screaming with people. Like what do you folks hear in this spot? What do you hear in this space?
Sure.
Just getting some input in that process. But I do think we should work on music in some capacity because I guess we have to write an album eventually.
What? No, we don't. No, man, that ain't it. Okay, cool. So we'll kind of play it by ear, but that'll be the goal. The objective will be, let's see if we can focus on vocals, melody. Lyrics are already written, but they're subject to change.
Yeah. One thing I also think would be fun is, and maybe you could put this up in the Discord.
Yeah.
But ideas for stuff for us to stream. So we've gone through all the lyrics. We've got Iota that we can do. We can do that as a separate video. That will be very quick. That would be easy to handle, but what we can stream. It's very hard to stream performances now, especially with all the lessons that I do.
Sure.
But yeah, if there's anything that y'all would think would be fun to stream, like, hey, Mark and Nico, because I'm over here every Thursday.
Yep.
And
then Alex is here on Fridays.
Poetry writing thing, that could be fun. I have no training in writing poetry. I've always just kind of done what felt normal and natural, so but I'd be happy to do that. Kind of talk about the way that I try to say things.
Yeah, like, I mean, we've just gone through so many lyrics, and we have to subvert your lyrical writing like poetry in order to say, what are you trying to actually say? And you're like, instead of saying he went there, I say this, and you beautify it with like flower petals and dew in like the most beautiful way.
I'll give you one tip right now, but then I'll do the rest later because I'd have to think about it. Resolve your imagery in a way that is not expected. So, for example, we were talking about this a little while ago, but if I was to say, if I was to do a bum 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 bum. Right? Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. That's the note that we expect. So in our mind, we have an expectation for what note comes next. And when you write the note that is expected to come next, you are writing pop music, right?
Okay.
Now, I love me some pop music, and there's nothing wrong
Taylor
with
Swift, I hear.
Taylor Swift's fucking awesome. She's got an amazing voice. Also, let's talk about, although maybe it doesn't count as pop, but like I was working out yesterday and we were listening to Doja Cat, and dude, she's fire.
Doja Cat?
Doja Cat, yeah.
Never heard of
She's
this.
got a beautiful voice. So I'm not anti-pop music, but oftentimes what'll happen is people will overlook your, like if you say our love was like a flower, people aren't going to read your lyrics. They're going to be like, cool, next. Right? So write your lyrics down, write your phrase down, and then look at the part that seems accessible and switch it.
Or something that's like obvious. Like, oh, it's obvious it would be like a flower. It's an old motif.
Her timbre is otherworldly. Totally is. Yeah, her voice is beautiful.
Death Metal Karaoke says Shaunashev. Hey, Shaunashev, the voice has entered the chat.
After a full day of lessons, definitely not.
I mean, I'll try some karaoke.
We could also
Kardashev karaoke.
Kardashev karaoke.
Nico has to do the entire. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't do that.
I am not doing that.
I don't even know if I could do our entire discography all the way through.
Oh, dude, no. So let me tell you something. So for those of you who don't know, I stream 5 days a week, and probably 2 of those days a week, I just play through all of our music. From start to finish. Not in any particular order. I take requests or whatever, but I will sit here and I'll play it. Let me tell you, those days, I don't want to use my hands afterwards.
It hurts.
Because, like, my palm, whatever this muscle is called, like, everything is just in pain and my back hurts. And I'm like, dude, 2.5 hours of just straight shredding? Not what it...
No, it's 100% right. Yeah, and vocals are a very athletic thing as well.
Yes. I can't imagine the strain just in this, like, muscle grouping. That'd be awful. That'd be garbage.
That's why next month I'm doing 1 less day a week, because I gotta like have a voice again.
Yeah, man. gotta have that day off, you know. Mark should teach us how to write poetry. Okay, so we talked about that. Death Metal Karaoke. Doja's voice is perfect. Her timbre's otherworldly. I wish my music tastes weren't so snobby, so I could enjoy more pop music.
Let me tell you. Okay, so first of all, don't shit on your own music tastes. I mean, do whatever you want. But let me tell you exactly what made me enjoy pop music.
Yeah.
Because I used to have this same thing. I was like, if it's on the radio, it sucks. And I would do all these preambles of like, I'm not saying pop music is bad. And then I was basically miserable to be around if I was talking about pop music. But I watched this one video, and it was from a sociologist and music theory master's degree person. And they said pop music is one of the best ways to understand cultural movement. And I was like, I'm a fucking asshole. Like, pop music is a reflection of cultural values, cultural movement. It is a very binding factor. Part of the reason it's popular is because a lot of people enjoy it. So it's kind of like a way to bind a lot of people together. And I was like, you know, not everything has to be avant-garde. Like, every meal I eat doesn't have to be like 5-star, like Gordon Ramsay, like personally made it for, you know, sometimes you just go to Filiberto's and you have some damn good food. You know what I mean? And I realized, like, you know, there are different places for different things, you know? Sometimes I might want music that is like the weirdest, most convoluted art thing that I can handle, which is gonna be like The Caretaker
Or Imperial Triumphant.
But other times, maybe I just want to like enjoy something simple.
Sure.
You know, and then once I kind of allowed myself to enjoy pop music, because I realized part of the reason I didn't want to enjoy pop music is I didn't want people to think of me as a pop music person. I didn't want people to think that I liked pop music, and then I was like, like why am I doing this to myself? And then I realized that pop music is a lot more complex than I realized.
It's a lot of realizations.
Yeah, that happens when a random YouTube video makes you feel like a piece of shit.
I guess so. God.
Now, that's not to say that if somebody out there doesn't like pop music, they are a piece of shit for not liking pop music. All the reasons that I had for not liking pop music were because I was being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Of course. That's so funny. America's culture is wet ass pussy.
I said certified freak. Like, legit though, I kind of like that song.
Yeah, me too.
It's
I'm not here to
bop.
knock things. I'm just curious to have the discussion. Mallard says sometimes you need an artisanal gelato. Sometimes you need a Chapman strawberry. There's always a time and place.
That is actually a really good way to say it. That's a really good way to say it.
Aristotle, I also kind of think writing good pop music is harder than writing good metal. There's nothing to hide behind, and the flavor has to be controlled. Interesting.
I'm not sure I would say I fully agree with that, but I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I totally see what you're saying. One thing that I've found is that measurements of harder and easier are kind of hard to do, or are kind of difficult to do, because there's such different things. You know, there's such different things. I think the difficulty in writing pop music would be the expectation to be perfect. You know, like Doja Cat's timbre is phenomenal, right? And so like she probably sings all those lines thousands of times, because even though they process her voice, like it has to be good for them to do these things with.
Yeah, the margin for error is very small.
Yeah, exactly. And like if you kind of think about it this way too, like if what are my chances of making something viral, like making a viral TikTok right now? Pretty fucking low. For a pop star to be successful, they need to hit that a lot, right? So granted, a lot of them aren't writing their own songs. Their songs are written by somebody else, but like the person who's the ghostwriter, the person who's in the back writing the song, they're like, okay, just like millions of dollars riding on the fact that I do a good job now, right? You know, just like certified freak will do it.
Certified free.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
But in metal, you can hide behind distortion and growling and blasting. You can to a degree.
Yeah, but I mean, at a certain point, you just fade in with the crowd.
That's exactly right. And also like you can hide behind growling to a degree, but take it from me, the metal vocal community is a competitive beast. It is a competitive beast.
You mean to tell me there are elitists in the metal genre community?
What? Yeah. So if you're kind of just like nonstop, you might get some gigs and stuff, but people will notice. People will see that. You know what I mean? I think it just depends. I like to think of it as the two separate genres have their own challenges and advantages. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Tribulations be tribulating. Aristotle says, in metal you can hide... Oh yeah, I got that. Drawcab says, pop music for me is the social quote vibe. Yeah, I gravitate towards the proggy deep music, but it cannot do what pop does. And I think that I have to kind of argue to and also against that it's a spectrum. Some people haven't found music that hits them in the same way that metal might hit me, right? Like when I listen to Landloss, it's a completely different experience than when I listen to Metallica. Metallica does nothing for me, but there are way more people who love Metallica than people who love Landloss. So obviously I'm in the wrong. Would be a way to sort of subvert that concept. All right, guys, so we got time for a couple more, and then we're going to dip out. We're about to hit our 2-hour mark here. Beagle says, what got me listening to pop music is my friends. The worst feeling is going to a party or concert and not enjoying the music. You become such a vibe killer.
That's who I was. I was the vibe killer.
Oh my God.
That was me 100%.
But if you just relax and enjoy it for what it is, it's a damn good time.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Like, just let people enjoy things.
You know what? This kind of harkens back to the whole net positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Net positivity. We talked about this in one of our earlier albums weeks ago, but if it's a net good overall outcome, and it doesn't have to be objective or subjective, if it's just like we're all vibing, then like why do you gotta be the guy?
Mm-hmm.
Why you gotta be the guy? Like just don't be the guy.
Just don't be that guy.
Don't be the guy. Just shut your pie hole. If you're not having a good time, dip. But if you are having a good time, then vibe, dude.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. Like, you don't have to insert your opinion because you have one.
Yeah. That's fucking true.
You know what I'm saying? That's the fucking truth, says this guy.
No, yeah, like it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and then when you're expected to have opinions, sometimes you don't have one. That's never happened during a reaction video before.
What?
Yeah, sometimes I'll pull up a song and I'll just be like, this song does literally nothing for me, but in the moment I'm gonna find a positive somehow, somewhere.
Do you want to be this one or this one?
What's your favorite color?
Red.
How many fish are in the sea?
It's like 6 point.
Okay, this one.
All right. Here we go. Can you please, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out on the stream today. We are going to go get some food now. We have just hit our 2-hour mark. We have talked about the Bearing of Shadows in great depth. Hopefully it wasn't too deep and dark for some of you. Those of you who just kind of came in towards the end, please do go back and watch the VOD. It will be available on Twitch for 14 days, and then it'll be on our YouTube channel, !YouTube, if you want that link right now. and you can check it out there. Also, exclamation point Cardivox gets you here.
Hello.
If you guys haven't read it, right here below Mark's belly thing, there's a bunch of links. There's a bunch of commands. There's freebies. Check it out. Maybe don't. Maybe do. Doesn't matter to me because we are
Wait, one more time.
We're out of here. Okay, see you then.